If you're somebody who spends a lot of time in your head overthinking things or worrying about things, and they're things that you know don't really matter, or at least shouldn't really matter, but you're not quite sure what to do about it. Or maybe sometimes you are worrying about things that you don't even realize aren't that important to be worrying about, or you're doing things that aren't necessary, and it's taking a lot of your time and energy that could be spent on things that are actually important. Well, we're going to talk about those today. We're going to talk about what to do about them, because I think a lot of us are spending too much of our precious and limited time, energy, and effort wearing ourselves out doing things that actually aren't that important, or even just worrying about things that aren't necessary to worry about. So we're going to talk about that today. Stay tuned. My name is Kristina, and I am a registered therapist, researcher, and online course creator. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, and I work to help men and women get through the crap that is holding them back so they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And this is a big one for a lot of us, that we spend a lot of our energy doing and worrying and thinking about things that really just aren't that important. And sometimes we don't realize that they're not that important, or we kind of tell ourselves that they're a lot more important than they are. But if you can think about it like this, that all of us, we start our day with a certain amount of energy, that our energy tank is full, and we get up in the morning and our energy tank is full, and then we start in on our day and we start doing little unimportant or menial or things that we tell ourselves that we have to do or have to deal with or have to accomplish, but they're really actually not critical, they're not crucial, and maybe even not beneficial or important, but we use that energy so slowly. As after we wake up, our morning goes on and we're doing or we're thinking about or worrying about things and using that energy on things that aren't actually that important. And by the time we get to doing the things that are important, or actually thinking about the things that are important, most of our energy is gone, that our energy tank is nearing empty, and we're worn out and we're exhausted and we're kind of ready to be done for the day, but then actually haven't gotten to the things that are important to us, haven't dealt with the things, haven't accomplished the things that we want to be doing. Now, what are some of these things? And you probably have your own list of things, but I'm going to give you a few examples to get the wheels turning. And do leave your comments in the comment section below and let us know about some of the things that you are now realizing that you're wasting that energy and using up your energy tank on, that don't need to be done. So some of these things are like dealing with unnecessary emails. And a lot of times there's necessary emails, there's clients we need to get back to, there's family members that we need to correspond with, there's issues that we need to address. But then a lot of the times we spend our time responding to emails that aren't important, or dealing with or even reading emails that aren't important. Or if you are somebody who spends a lot of time rereading your emails, so before you send an email on the topic of email, that you're somebody who rereads it 18 times before sending it, to make sure that it sounds perfect, to make sure that it sounds just right, to make sure that you're not going to be misunderstood in any way, and using all of this energy and all of this time doing it. Or you spend time worrying about and thinking about how much better somebody else's life is than yours, or how much more successful someone is than you, or what somebody else has that you don't have. And you spend all this emotional energy thinking about it and worrying about it, or even comparing yourself to somebody else. That is depleting your tank. And it's really not getting us anywhere. I mean, we all do it. Let's be honest. We all do it. But it doesn't really get any of us anywhere. And it's not really helpful in any way, shape, or form. All it's doing is depleting that energy tank. Or some of these other silly things is getting caught up in disagreement and really worrying about how much we disagree with someone, and spending our energy needing to be right. And there's that saying out there, you've probably heard it before: do you need to be right, or do you need to be happy? And worrying about being right and proving our point and making sure that everyone agrees with us all the time is just not possible. It's kind of annoying, and it uses a lot of our energy unnecessarily. And then similar to this one, and I've gotten caught up in this as well, engaging in fruitless or meaningless or pointless debates on social media. So someone posts something that really triggers you, or that really, like gets something going in you, and you spend all this time like composing emails and having these conversations back and forth that are really not helpful, because they're not coming from a place of growth and learning. They're coming from a place, again, of wanting to be right or prove our point or get on a soapbox or whatever it is. And, in the moment it feels, like I have to do this and I have to say something, but there's times and places to have a voice that matters, to say something that's going to make a difference. And there's a lot of times when we're just wasting our energy. People are not often open to having a dialogue. There's groups or there's forums where people are interested in having an engaging, learning, growing dialogue, but oftentimes people just want to rant, or people just want to get under the skin of other people. And so not getting pulled into that, not getting worked up about that, not wasting that energy tank engaging in these debates or conversations that aren't going anywhere, that don't matter. I've definitely done that one, and I've had to really pull myself back from it, because there are things that are important, that there are things that I want to be spending that energy tank on. There are things that do make a difference and that do matter, that I want to be spending that energy tank on. So what do we do about this one? Well, a simple but really helpful thing to do is making a list of priorities. So making the list sometimes of our do's and our don'ts. And the do's are the things that we want to be focused on, the things we want to be spending our energy on, the things that we want to be getting done in a day, and having a to-do list of the things that are important to us, and being not just writing down a bunch of stuff, but actually looking at what is important to me. What do I want to be using my energy tank on? And having a list to keep us focused. And then the other kind of list that we can have is a don't list. So things that we don't do, and having kind of these little rules for ourselves, or these boundaries around things that we don't do. So I don't respond to unnecessary emails, or I don't engage myself in meaningless conversations, or I don't spend a bunch of time worrying about what somebody else is doing. I focus on what I'm doing, and the work that I'm putting in, and the effort that I'm making for myself to move myself forward, to deal with my own stuff, to feel good about what's going on in my own life. And it doesn't really matter what's going on in somebody else's life. So I don't waste my time worrying about what somebody else has going on. I focus on my own lane. I focus on my own stuff. And then also sometimes we do need to let ourselves off the hook for the unnecessaries. So the things that we do sometimes out of people pleasing, or out of guilt, or out of wanting to be a good person, or whatever it is, it's coming from this place that's not by choice, but this sense of unhealthy obligation. So there's healthy obligation and there's unhealthy obligation, where we feel like we have to, where we feel forced into it, or that we're gonna, not even really forced, but I'll, be criticized or made to feel guilty if I don't do it. So really allowing ourselves to take a bit of a step back and say, what are some of these unnecessaries that I'm allowing myself to get manipulated? And that's what it is when we're being motivated, when we're being driven by guilt or fear. Oftentimes that is being manipulated. We're being manipulated. And so what are these things that I'm doing that are actually unnecessary? And what do I need to do, or what conversations do I need to have with someone else or with myself to let myself off the hook for them, so that I can keep that energy tank alive and well and used on the things that are important to me. And sometimes absolutely doing things for other people are a good use of that energy, are a good use of our time, but not out of obligation or guilt, doing it out of wanting to contribute to a relationship, wanting to build a relationship, wanting to be there for a loved one, because that's just what we do for each other when we're in relationships, out of choice, not out of fear, guilt, or obligation. So taking a little bit of time with this one and thinking about what's important to me, What do I want to be using my tank on? And what are some of the changes that I'm going to start making today? In the comments below, leave 2 or 3 things that you're going to share with us, 2 or 3 things that you're going to start doing differently. And dealing with things that we don't need to be dealing with can cause a lot of stress. And I do have a tip sheet on 9 unexpected ways to immediately reduce our stress. And you can grab that. I'll put the link below. If you're someone who notices yourself feeling more stressed than you'd like to for whatever reason, make sure you grab that. And also join my Facebook group, goodformegroup.com. Some of the most supportive and kind and caring and encouraging men and women who are also really fun and interesting and creative as well. So come and join our Facebook group, goodformegroup.com. Like the video, every like counts and I appreciate. Share it out. Let's get more people on board with keeping their energy tanks full on the things and focused on the things that are important to them. And subscribe as well. Subscribe to the channel so that we can stay connected. Thanks for being here. Until next time, take good care.